Yes, so Hairless here. Today we are back with the Patreon request. Thank you to Lupe for this one. This is Forestella with White Knight. We're following on from my previous two Forestella reactions, Save Our Lives and Utopia. You can check them out in my Forestella playlist, card up here. Both of them were amazing, but Utopia, I listened to that literally for days on repeat. I think I went a bit mad. It just blew my mind. So I've had a tiny bit of a rest from Forestella since then. I've not listened to them in a couple of weeks, so I'm raring to go. My understanding is that this is not the final part of the trilogy, with Save Our Lives and Utopia being parts 1 and 2. Instead, this is a separate release by them. It's their own song, an original. I'm definitely intrigued by it. The lyrics are, I don't know what word to use, vague? Confusing. I want to say they're sort of dystopian, but in a kind of backwards way. The opening lines talking about wandering an empty place where light cannot set to find hope. You know, light cannot set, that means eternal light, which would normally be associated with heaven or a utopia. The song title, I suppose, is White Knight after all. And then later on, we get positive and negative lyrics. So I think let's get into it and see what it's about.
Search for the night in the dawn where light cannot set as we wander this empty place to find our hope we must not forget. Our song is long to be heard. A murmur of history. Will it ring true? The call of the earth. A hope is surrounding me in this sea of green. There is magic in these trees. Feel colors.
Okay, from the lyrics we saw earlier, I think this is the chorus now. So let's do a pause here. I'm very paranoid about copyright these days. Yeah, interesting. Let's start with the visuals, because this is a music video, but it very much looks like the setting of a stage performance. If you don't want to hear my analysis, by the way, go to the timestamp here. So on the point of aesthetic, we have these interesting opening visuals. The word night, upside down, like the concept of night, which is normally dark, has been flipped, because now it is white. But that makes it even more interesting because of the complete darkness surrounding it. Not gonna lie, when these lights came on, here you see in the background, I thought that was imagery of some kind of atomic explosions or something. Not sure if that's intentional or not. Right, so then we see them, and then we get our first opening from Bynon, the Barry tenor, as I call him, because his voice type I would call a baritone, but he's capable of singing the tenor range.
Search for the night in the dawn.
As he demonstrates a bit further on,
This empty place.
where he goes up to this note. That top G sharp. The piano accompaniment that we've been hearing, I think it's quite captivating. It gives me fairy tale energy. No, maybe that's not the right word, but it reminds me of forests, of nymphs, no, mythical creatures, fairies, that kind of thing. It uses a small number of motifs in different variations. And all of these motifs, I'll give some examples in a second, they all contribute to the rhythmic role the piano is playing here because there's no beat. Let's go over some examples. Quick arpeggiated figures.
I said, as we
Slow arpeggiated figures.
empty place to find
Harmony in thirds or fourths, so 3 or 4 notes apart.
the dawn where light
And here as well.
wander this empty
And then the main one, the most standout feature is the 3-note phrases that they use.
place.
Ba-ba-bum. And then a slower example of the 3-note phrases. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And then whilst we've paused here, another quick point on the imagery, the visuals. I do feel that this is related to the trilogy in some way. The tree behind them that we see here, well, it's reminding me of what we've seen previously with Save Our Lives and Utopia. And the strong trope of nature, there were a couple of moments where it turns green in the background. It looks like the Aurora Borealis. And as I mentioned, for a music video, being a stage performance is very, very different to what we've seen, you know, for example, with Utopia. That was extremely cinematic and very much had a feel of a set. Alright, so back to the music. Cho Ming-yu enters the tenor. Along with Ko Woo-rim, the bass. They're singing in unison, we have no harmonies yet, and additionally in the background we now get strumming, a bit of extra rhythms, the piano part has become less prominent, and we get an official beat now as well. The melody is in 2 phrases. We just heard the first phrase. This second phrase goes a bit higher than the first. I like how the bass part, the lowest part that we can hear, in this case it's a drone sounding thing in the cello, it exaggerates this upward motion to show that we're now going higher in the second phrase. In the first phrase we hear this B flat droning. But then in the second phrase it moves, it goes as the singers move to a higher note. Subconsciously, now things are moving up. Just after that, we get the first real bit of dissonance between the guys in their melody, a juicy moment. It's subtle, but they're singing and close together. This is the first moment of harmony between 2 voices, even though it's dissonant. The first time they're not singing the same note. It's like a little teaser because just after that we get... Oh, hi Kang Kyung-ho. So he's the resident countertenor. Now, his voice, and I was thinking about this earlier because it wasn't fulfilled in Utopia to its full potential. But his voice is just nuts. He can do everything. Instead of like a normal person who might have a baritone voice with countertenor access, he's more of this insanely expansive chest voice, can sing super, super high with a male soprano type head voice. That's rare and so useful for a group like this. I mean, his entry just there. Straight in on a top C. That's the wow moment for operatic tenors. Alright, let's carry on from what I believe was the chorus. Okay, looks like chorus round 2. Let's do another pause there. We're about 2/3 of the way through actually. Tell you what, I'm getting goosebumps with this one. We'll go and talk about it now, but there's like a epic feeling to it. So what I was saying about Kang Kyung-ho on the screen now, right from where we left off, his range. That F up there. He just does it with such a nice tone. And it's exaggerated by a nice contrast with the bass. Both singers have very rich voices in their respective voice types. They complement each other really well, and they're singing about mountains rising. Mountains from the ground all the way up to the skies. They cover everything, just like these 2 guys' ranges. And then just after that, we get the same thing, but even higher. That's pretty much the highest note your typical chorister is expected to sing. It's weird as well because these lyrics, oceans crashing like a storm, I wouldn't associate this music with these lyrics. The music sounds too angelic. That leads into this moment of nice homophony. Everyone singing the same words at the same time as each other. It's a little tricky to pick out exactly the 4 voice parts there. To me, it sounds like the 2 inner parts have been quite heavily treated. It sounds almost like they're ghosts, shadows. I see the word soul on the screen, souls maybe. And I really like the melodic line here. This is a hemiola. If you've seen my previous videos, I'm sure you would have heard me talk about a hemiola before. Most songs seem to be written where we think in terms of 2s. 1, 2, 1, 2. And a hemiola in those cases is where in the space of 2 beats, we fit 3 equal beats. So 3 beats are slightly quicker than 2. So say we have 1, 2, 1, 2, then the 3 would be 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Here, it's the other way round because we're thinking in terms of 3s naturally with this song. 3s are the standard. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. But we get bum, 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 bum. They're nice and catchy rhythms to complement the melodic line, where we return to the starting note 3 times. And speaking of catchy rhythms, the lower strings are really jumping out at me here. So there's a lot going on. Now, what I said earlier about a kind of epic feeling, maybe it's a bit more from a storytelling perspective about this section. I don't know what it is exactly, but I feel like this would make great film music. Firstly, aesthetically, they've changed now from white to black suits. We're in slow motion, which is always dramatic. The instrumentation, what was that, a harmonica? Very dramatic as well. That slide down it does. And the beat that we hear, the last beat of each phrase seems to have reverb on it, like an echo effect, which works well with the slow-mo. The strings as well, they're contrasting each other. We have the melodic legato smooth lines in the violin soaring over the top, and they contrast the rhythmic thrumming we hear in the lower strings. And the piano line as well, tinkling about in there. And I feel why it's dramatic is because of tension underlying. This note here, it's sustained, it's repeated as the chords around it change. So it's keeping the tension harmonically, but it's playing so it's making sure that things keep moving as well. They just said they'll begin their adventure. And what I mentioned, the reverb on the beat, the violins, slow. Adventures you don't normally think of as slow. So it's this thrumming. That is the real rhythmic driving force here, keeping things going. And just before we carry on, a bit further on, my main question is there's a secondary vocal part, like a male soprano. And then up there, I'm guessing that's multi-tracking of Kang Hyung-ho, unless another one of them has this unbelievable falsetto I've not yet seen. Alright, let's carry on to the end. Whew. That ending, those chords. It gave me the goosebumps. I tried to show on the camera, but it didn't really come out. Alright, well, let's go over a few of the final points there. One thing for sure is that Forestella do not lack creativity. A few standout features from that last section. First thing, the key change. We move up a semitone.
Crash like a storm.
Which means that we get a top A. That is the widely recognised standard top note of a treble, a chorister. So here we get this rather unconventional muffled shout singing type thing. It almost sounds like someone, I'm thinking the baritone, are singing / shouting through a megaphone. But it's of course to a melody, and a very catchy one at that. And that's not the only time we hear these additional background vocals. I think they're actually a prominent feature of this section towards the end. Their purpose is probably to bring a deeper sound and a thicker texture. Here's another example on the words like a storm. And then a more subtle one follows just after that. It's this tenor top B piercing through. Back to the aesthetic. What I found interesting is the dancers in the background whom we don't really see in this video. We only get a couple of glimpses of them, I think. I only spotted a couple. Let's try find them. Yeah, there's one, I think before that as well. Here. I thought as this is a music video that the stage performance might be staged for the sake of the video. And, you know, their outfits change halfway through from white to black. But maybe this is an actual performance of theirs, or a couple of performances that they're just using the footage from for the video. Let me know if you know. And then, as I said, I love that ending, those chords. It would be a crime not to play them. There's so much going on, different layers, so I'll simplify them and scrunch them together. Alright, well, there we go. White Knight by Forestella. As I said before, they're very creative. They do not lack creativity at all. It's exciting because you never know what to expect. I've seen a few of their videos. My first 2 reactions were from a show, so I have no idea what to expect from them now, and it's good. I like being kept on my toes, and I'm sure we have much more to discover, so comment down below any reactions by Forestella you'd like me to react to in the future. Thank you again for this request, and thank you to everyone for watching. Would very much appreciate a like, subscribe, and comment. If you enjoy my content, want to support me, vote on future polls, you can do so by joining the YouTube membership or the Patreon linked down below, and I will see you next time.